Hey, what's up, Dean? Save Performance. It is Sunday, and yes, I'm at the shop. The Terminator X kit came in yesterday. I'm not going to be here all that much this week, but I wanted to come down and at least get more done on the Magnum so that I can jump on the Jeep because he's been waiting. And I don't think it'll take too long to get the Jeep done, other than the AC stuff, which I honestly don't know that I'm going to even try to do the AC stuff, because that whole shelf right there is all his stuff. But this is what I'm doing today. So if anybody has a question, you could always comment. You could always email me, seerperformance@gmail. We even do remote tuning for the Holley stuff. We do remote tuning for some HP tuner stuff, but it's kind of a harder situation. This is, they have quite a few part numbers. I think they slimmed down on a few part numbers, but this is 550919T. So it's the Terminator X Max 24X EV6. Includes USB tuning cable. So there's two different ways you can order the kit. 550-919 will come with the 3.5-inch handheld. When you add the T to any one of the Terminator X Max part numbers, add a T to the very end. They eliminate the handheld and they put the USB dongle cable that you could that you use for the laptop, and it saves you, like a little bit of money, like $100 and something, I think, when they take the handheld out. So if you're gonna use like any of the Holley screens, I recommend adding the T to the end, because there's no point in having the 3.5-inch handheld if you have a big screen. So this is their kit. Everybody, I think a million people have done videos on the kits. You got the main engine harness, the main power harness. This is a transmission harness for 4L60 or 4L80, input-output harness, injector connector. I like the fact that Terminator comes with a separate injector harness, because if you change injectors and say they're not an EV6 connector, you don't have to buy a whole new harness. You don't have to cut the ends and change them. You can, but you could just buy an input-output harness. Their harnesses are getting a little bit better, especially the injector harness. They're actually starting to use heat shrink on all the splits on them. The battery harness has always used it. The main engine harness still has all the tape seams. So this one should be somewhat, I'll say, easier for me to do. I'm not going to split out the fuel pressure, because I actually ordered the little fitting. It's like almost like a coupling fitting. It'll go right in between here, and it has the port for a transducer. So I won't have to, it goes from right here, so I won't have to pull it all the way back. I might pull it a little bit back, I might not, we'll see. I got to get coils on there eventually, but I am going to pop that grommet out if I can. Doesn't look like it should be too hard to take out. Cut it, and I'm going to try and feed it onto the harness, so that way I could shove the harness out. I thought about shoving the harness in. The hard part's going to be the relays that are in this. It's got like a main relay, and then there should be, I believe there's a fuel pump relay in there. Yeah. So it's got, no, I don't see a fuel pump relay. Now it's got a fuel pump wire. I don't see the fuel pump relay. I believe there's a fuel pump relay in here, like already on it, but I'm not seeing it. Anyways, these are a little bit harder to get through when you have the harness in there. So let me get that grommet out, see if I can get this pushed through, and then go. All right, so about an hour and a half or so, I guess, maybe. I got that hole opened up, and then I got a grommet that I pop riveted on, and then it ripped. No big deal. But I got the entire harness, the whole engine harness, transmission harness. The transmission harness is hanging down. I did notice something. I'll get into that in a minute, but I strung the engine harness. I have the grounds on the back of the heads, there and there. You can kind of see the black wire loop down, and then that black wire loop down, and it's tied to the ground that comes off of here. That goes to the back of the head as well. I'm most likely going to make a ground that comes up to here, down to the block, so that way I kind of have a block ground and a head ground. I don't know that I'm going to run a ground all the way to the back, because that I think this one here, this red one, of course it's red, which is strange, but this is the one that comes from the back, which almost looks, oh, it's just got a little dent in it. No big deal. Yeah. Anyway, so everything's on, plugged in. I don't have the injector harness plugged in back there, but I don't have the coils on, but all the injectors are plugged in. Throttle body, coolant sensors on, that's new. Crank sensors plugged in, cam sensor, oil sensor. I don't have a knock sensor harness, so I have to debate if I swap the intake to that one that I got for the Camaro, which it's pretty cool. I kind of like it. I didn't know that if I would or not, but it's up to him if he likes it. So this is some deep motor. Hold on. Okay, so it's this deep motor. Yeah, it's an Amazon cheap company. This is like your typical sheet metal LS intake. I don't like those at all. I like the cast intakes, like high ram, even the little BTR one. I haven't used it, but it kind of looks like this. It resembles this, where the throttle body kind of comes underneath and the runners loop around. They also show some gnarly billet intake that all bolts together. So I haven't found that one. I found this one, this cast one. I haven't found this billet one. Didn't really look for it, but they also have like a Hemi sheet metal intake. Then they have the 4150 carburetor style, throttle body style with the injectors, and then small block Chevy. But this is what this one looks like. It's sort of a cross between the high ram and the sheet metal intake, and it's got to be cast aluminum, being that it has this impression of their name in it. It's just a little bit thinner cast aluminum, which is probably why it's cheaper. But it comes with the rails, the brackets. I started kind of putting it together to see what it looks like. I think it looks pretty cool. The flanges, amazingly, are like really, really flat, which is huge. Jeff could tell you. He's got the cheap sheet metal intake, and he's going through all kinds of gasket issues. The injectors, they're weird. The injector bungs are kind of a little bit weird looking to me. They have sort of a big hole up top and then the standard size hole. So it might be that you could put two different style injectors in it. There's no paperwork or nothing with it, of course, but I think it's so you could put the fat bottom injectors or a standard size injector in there. I have like a normal set of really short Deka injectors. I think these are 60-pound injectors. Yeah, so they actually fit down inside there, and they seat all the way, even though they're the shorties, they seat all the way down in there. So I just got to figure out the height. It has two different positions. On the, oh, almost broke my neck. No, maybe it doesn't. Thought it had two different heights. Oh, on the bracket. The bracket. Yeah. See how there's a upper and a lower hole? I have it on the lower hole right now. I just don't know what injector go in there yet. I have to take it out and kind of look at it, measure it, see if I even have the bracket the right way. But it's a pretty, I don't know, pretty decent intake. I like the way it looks. The horns come up pretty deep into it. Welds aren't horrifying. They're actually really nice. But you can see the flanges are, I think the flanges are a little thicker than the sheet metal ones. And they also have this taper for like the valley cover. So, I don't know. You know, we're going to try it. If he doesn't like it, we'll get rid of it. It's got 4 ports. It looks like 1/4 inch MPT, and then or maybe a 1/4 inch and then 1/8 inch MPTs. And then on the back it has the map sensor port in the back, kind of like a high ram has. But I like it. It's low. It's not really tall intake. I wouldn't recommend it for like a street car per se if you're looking to make like a ton of power or trying to make all the power. But at the same time, or torque, I should say, if you're trying to make a bunch of torque, you know, it's not going to make as much torque as, you know, longer runner intakes, but we'll see. So if I swap the intake, I'll definitely put a knock sensor harness. If I don't swap it, I don't know that I'll put a knock sensor harness. It's not hard to take this off. It takes 5 minutes. But I'll probably put one. Just me being me. But yeah, so everything's in. Wires are all pulled out. I'm going to run these grounds over to this shock tower ground. Then the fuel pump, I'll have to figure out, because I believe it was this yellow or this green with a pink. I'm not 100% sure. I wrote it on there. Fuel pump is brown. This one. I would guess that this is a ground signal, and the Holley puts out a 12-volt signal. So I either have to dig into the relay box, run this to a 12-volt, like ignition, and then run, well, I guess, no. No, I'd have to tie this to ground and then find the fuel pump relay, which it's in the back fuse box. So I might just take a relay and swap the polarity on the relay and just trigger ground. That way this gets ground. And then just use the relay in the back. It's either that or I pull that wire back in and run it to the pump. So I'm not sure. That one, we'll have to figure that one out. Whatever. Anywho, somewhat. Then there's, you know, battery feed and 12-volt ignition, 12-volt ignition, and battery feed for the transmission harness side. Then the biggest thing that I just noticed And I don't know how I didn't think of this. The transmission plug sits out of the side of a 4L80 case a little bit. And the Holley plug, so it sits straight out. That's the issue. Not like a 4L60 sits straight down, which is nice. 4L80 sits straight out. It's maybe an inch away from the floorboard. So I might have to kind of dent the floorboard in right in that area right there. Not sure yet. But inside, here's the whole harness with the relays. There's not a fuel pump relay. I swore there's a fuel pump relay off the Holley harness, but there's not one. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm confused. I don't know. Blue with the white is tack signal. May or may not need it. Gray goes to 12 volt brake switch signal. That unlocks the converter. That's pretty much it. And then I took this lower panel off, side panels off. I'm probably going to mount the ECU right here on this piece of metal. It's probably the next thing I'm going to do is mount the ECU. And then put the harness up on there and get it all zip tied up in there. I want to try and leave the CAN bus accessible. It's not too hard because there's a ton of space under here. There's a ton of room under there. So I can zip tie the harness way up and then have the CAN bus, you know, kind of hang down somewhere. I want to try and find a way to have the CAN bus kind of where the OBD port would be, something like that, like actually have a plug. But if I can't, I can't. And then I got to put the Deutsch connector on the shifter, and I'll wire the whole shifter. I'll bring two inputs to the Holley harness, even though I'm only using one button. I'm just going to activate a two-step. This way, in the future, if anything ever gets added, trans brake or I don't know, line lock or something, it's already wired to the shifter. It's wired to the Holley. You just have to pin it in the Holley software. But pretty much all I got left is the battery harness, the input output harness, put the coils on it. I have wires coming. I have the little fuel sensor piece coming. Yeah, I got to dent the header. That's kind of it. And then I'm going to pump the tank out. The gas is quite old in it, so I'll probably just hook a line up to here to one of my fuel cans, and I'll just trigger the pump on with a power probe or something like that and pump all that fuel out. Because I did put a new pump and everything in these tanks. Hopefully it's not totally clapped out. Yeah, so moving along. That's kind of the progress of it right now. The battery cable's kind of close to the starter. I don't like that. The crank sensor's not. I might flip the battery cable around, because you see it comes up here and then kind of goes down and then loops back and then comes forward. So I might take that out and bring it to over here and kind of go that way at the starter, and then it'll keep that wire away from the heat of the header. It's always kind of one of my big peeves, is like melting that wire to the header. But yeah, I mean, close. So I'm gonna keep working, but I'm gonna end the video off here. I'm probably gonna try and feed the battery harness to the back and mount the ECU on that panel and get the dashboard all back together. That's probably as far as I'll get today. Just depending. It's hot already, but and it's Sunday, but we'll see how far we get. Appreciate you watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell to be notified of new videos. Leave me a comment. As always, have a good day.